So how do we know when it's healthy ambition versus toxic productivity? Basically, who are you doing it for? Number one problem. Who is this for? Who does this benefit? If you do this every single day for 5 years, who ends up better off? You or someone else? You or someone else? Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Neurodivergent Creative Podcast. This week, we are talking about internalized capitalism, which is the sort of internal pressures that we have learned from society, from our parents, from TV, from our first job when we were 15, from school, like everything that we have learned about work and how hard we're supposed to work and what hard work gets you. And the way that those messages have been sort of skewed because it's not mentally healthy out there, friends. I had to quit working corporate. I talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but working in corporate environments always led to some sort of like ethical conundrum for me. And part of that is things that I was like particularly sensitive to because I'm autistic. And some of that is just things that I chose not to like just look the other way on. A lot of people are able to say like, I need a job. And so I'm going to go to work because I need a job, because I need the money. So like, I can't afford the luxury of having an ethical crisis. And with me, I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm going to figure something else out. And so here I am. I have a podcast. You listen to me. I love that. Please subscribe. But I want to talk about that voice inside of us that says like, you need to work harder. You need to do more. If you're not making X number of dollars, you are wasting your time. You are less valuable. And that gets so toxic. And so then we can get into this conundrum of like, how do we differentiate between like ambition, which is lovely. We love ambition. We love goals. And this sort of like toxic hustle productivity culture thing that has been sort of taught to us innately since we were children. So like the easiest example of how to explain internalized capitalism is like when you get a call from your boss and they're like, hey, Johnny had to call in sick. I know it's your day off, but can you come in and cover for Johnny? That's not your problem. That's not Johnny's problem. Because when you have a job, you should be able to take a day off when you are sick. Like that's being sick 101. You don't give your germs to other people. If the company cared about like health and safety, they wouldn't have people come in when they're sick. The fact that we are so pressured to go to work when we are sick because of what'll happen to the company if we don't. Oh, they'll be short-staffed. Oh, I'll get too far behind. That's because companies run really lean as they can get away with. And when they don't have enough manpower to cover everything that needs doing, they just start increasing job responsibilities without an increase in pay. A great example of this is teaching. Say you work at a school levy doesn't pass, you have major budget cuts, and suddenly the second grade teacher is being asked to like teach music. The gym teacher is now watching the study hall periods. Like they start to double up. They start to ask people like, can you cover this for us? And it's really, really, really hard to resist this in a school because like it's for the kids and you don't want the kids to suffer. But then the teachers are suffering because the teachers are being way overworked, not paid enough. They often have to buy school supplies out of their own pocket and it's not sustainable. And it's really, really unhealthy when we are asking teachers, line cooks, anybody to like come in sick, push too hard, keep going and going, do more than your fair share because we don't have the people. We can't afford to hire more people. So we need you to do more work for the same paycheck. And like logically on paper, you want to be like, no, that's crazy pants. If you want more work out of me, you should pay more. That's how negotiation works. That's not how internalized capitalism works, because internalized capitalism tells you that like your good person points come from how good you are at your job and how much of an impact you make for your company and how irreplaceable you are to your boss. But also, like, if you drop dead, they would just put up a job posting and hire your replacement. maybe they would have to hire 2 or 3 people to replace you by the time you have actually just had a heart attack and died because of the stress. Let's not do that. Now, that's easier said than done, because you can't always just be like, no, I simply will not do that, because we need to work, right? Like it's a privilege and a luxury to be able to stand up to unfair working conditions. And that sucks. And we are in a position in the United States right now. There's a lot of like union busting going on. So like a Starbucks will try to unionize, and then Starbucks corporate sends in strike breakers and puts up signage that says like, oh, unions are bad. They cost so much money and they don't do anything for you. And there's like a real propaganda machine against workers unionizing. So basically, if corporate doesn't want you to do that, it's probably good for you. I'm just going to say that, because corporate doesn't care what your life balance looks like. You know, corporate doesn't care if you have a healthy work-life balance, or what I call work-life play-rest balance. Work doesn't care about play or rest. Work just wants you to come to work, even on your day off, right? Because Johnny's sick and we need help. Aren't you going to come in? Come on, you put me in such a bad spot. You put me in such a tight spot. We really need you to cover for Johnny. Then hire more people so that if there's somebody sick, it's covered, right? Not a you problem, not a Johnny problem, a management problem, a staffing problem, a company problem. Not your problem. So that's like our first foray into noticing internalized capitalism and starting to reframe it, because it's going to sound right in your mind. It's going to sound like, well, don't I want to do a good job? And I like my job, and I like, I'm a teacher. It's my calling. I'm following my passion. Don't I want to do the best I can? And like, yes, you do. We're watching New Girl. And Jess, the main character, just got a job offer that's more money at a children's museum doing fundraising. And she's like, oh, but like my teaching job, I've always wanted to be a teacher. And then it cuts to her at school where she's teaching a like 3-part class. Man, it was like geology, civics, and something else. And it was like purposely ridiculous, right? It's like satirical. It's a parody of what schools have to go through. But it wasn't that far off either. My sibling is an educator, and I hear a lot of stuff. And it's tough out there. It's tough to keep the kids engaged. It is tough to like cover gaps when there are gaps like in the staff. It's just hard. It's just hard. If you know a teacher, please give them a hug, okay? And also, if you have a child who is a student, especially like a high schooler, please give them a hug too, because they're doing really hard work, okay? It's a lot of work to go to school and learn all day and then do your homework and deal with all the social ramifications of school. There's just a lot going on. Okay, but back to internalized capitalism. We have ambition, right? We want to do stuff. Like for me, I want to do my podcast, right? I want to do a good job on my podcast. I want to do 4 episodes a month. And today I even wrote down like some notes beforehand. Sometimes I just get on here and I'm like, here's what I'm thinking about, blah, 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 blah. You guys seem to love them. You're never mad. But today I was like, no, I really want to like get on point. Our brains operate on something called the motivational triad, which means that our brains are designed to do 3 things. They want to seek comfort or pleasure, avoid pain, and maximize efficiency. So having your own ambition and doing hard things and personal growth, that's going to feel like pain and inefficiency. And so your brain is like, we don't really want to do that. But there's still like, it's still good to grow, to pursue something for like intrinsically motivating reasons. So like reasons to push through and do stuff, even though it feels hard at the time, is like having a truly intrinsic goal. That's something that you want. You want to master a craft, right? You want to learn an instrument. You want to learn to sing. You want to achieve something. And that's important to you. Nobody told you to do it. Nobody is saying, hey, if you learn this skill, you can make a ton of money. Like nobody else's judgment is in it. It's something that you want. That's a pretty good indicator that you are dealing with like genuine ambition. And like, it's okay to push through the resistance when that is happening. Also like long-term payoffs. So doing something small now that feels kind of like annoying and frustrating, like practicing the guitar every day, like you're doing it, your fingers hurt and you still sound bad and you've been practicing for 2 weeks and like it just sucks. But imagine Like, come with me on a journey here. Imagine if you practice the guitar for 10 minutes most days for like 5 years. I know thinking that far in the future might be scary. Even 1 year. If you practice for 10 minutes, like 5 days a week, you spend maybe up to an hour a week practicing. What's that going to do in a year? You're probably going to be able to play at least one song, probably a few, on the guitar. Kudos. Amazing. You are going to have a long-term payoff for you, for yourself, for your intrinsic goal. Meanwhile, if you are pushing through at work or for some internal capitalist reason where you're like, no, I got to do this. I got to do it because it's going to make me money, because it's a side hustle, because my mom wants me to go back to school and become a doctor, like whatever you're doing. If you're like, I'm having a bad time. This is a bad time that I'm having. Why am I doing this? And the reason is somebody else's opinion. Maybe ask yourself, do I have to do this? Am I beholden to this opinion? Because I bet you're not. I fear that is internalized capitalism, that is somebody else pressuring you, and that is not something that is going to have a long-term payoff for you personally. So like, let's say you stay half an hour late at work every day just to catch up on stuff that you weren't able to do during the day because you're so busy. So you're doing like half an hour of like unpaid overtime because you clock out, or maybe you're salaried and you know, like you're getting paid for like 40 hours a week of work and you're doing more than that. And that's not going to be reflected in your pay. But this is important to you. You know, it's for the kids. You're a teacher. You want to do a little extra. What does that look like in a year? That looks like you're super burned out because you have never been taken care of as you were doing more and more and more work that wasn't personally like for your own fulfillment. So intrinsic, extrinsic. Where's the motivation coming from? Who are you doing this for? And who receives the long-term payoff? If it's your boss, maybe rethink that. If it is you personally, go for it. Learn guitar. Learn to write poetry. Learn to do whatever. Become a sticker maker. I just looked at my water bottle and there's stickers on it. I'm a stickered water bottle person now. Other reasons to do stuff that might be uncomfortable is like you're helping somebody else. You want to do something kind without any like expectation that will be returned to you. Because then we're getting into this like sort of hustle mentality and like, I scratch your back, you scratch my back. I don't like keeping track of favors and good deeds and kindness. I just want to be kind and trust that other people are going to be kind to me. That's idealistic. I understand that. That is not how the world works. I understand that. But in Caitlin's little ecosystem where we all just live in a cozy little forest together, that is how it works. So if you are doing something to like get something in return or maybe gain the upper hand or manipulate an outcome, I'm going to say that's not you talking. That's the capitalism in your brain talking. Okay, great. I also want to address like disability and work because a lot of the internalized capitalism comes in when we can't work the way we used to. So like I used to be a big overachiever at work. I was the person that I've been talking about this whole time. Like, you know, I went in on Saturday to catch up because we're so just super busy and it's a really busy season. And, you know, just this once, I'm going to go in on the weekend to catch up on paperwork, or I'm going to stay a little bit late, or I'm going to come in early to help with inventory. And these were things that I did out of kindness to my coworkers. But at the end of the day, it's because we were understaffed and like the company should have hired people who could do all that without me having to overextend myself. Blah, 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 blah. I can't work that hard anymore. I have fibromyalgia. I am fatigued always. Like I just live tired. It's rough. And what else do I have going on? Chronic pain. So like I'm just always in pain a little bit to a lot. It varies day to day. And I just can't do stuff the way I used to. And that frustrates me. Like I think about, oh, what if I got a full-time job just to cover the bills and like let me take the foot off the gas on the business stuff. And I start looking at full-time jobs and I'm like, I don't want to do all that. Like that is so much work. because I'm reading it and I know it's 2 people's worth of work. And I know I'm going to be overworked and underpaid. And I know I don't want to deal with that and I'm not going to last very long. And also they're not going to like me very much because I ask a lot of questions. I'm not cut out for corporate life and they can smell that on me. And I could choose to I could choose to put the mask back on, and go into a job interview and be like, I mean, it's just my passion. Organizing an office it makes me feel so good. And that's a lie. What makes me feel so good? Like vibing and doodling. And I taught a marketing call today where we talked about how our businesses are like ecosystems. And one person was like, oh my God, I'm like a mycelium network. And somebody else was like, oh, I feel like a river. Like sometimes I'm whitewater rapids and sometimes I'm really like smooth and still, but like I'm always water. I'm always moving. And it was beautiful. We had this really beautiful call about what kind of ecosystems we were. And that's what I love. I love having weird metaphor teaching things. I don't want a corporate job where I have to just go in and do the same thing and make a bunch of phone calls and do paperwork. That sounds so boring and I would die. I don't like it. Hey friend, it is time for another round of novel parkour. This time it's going to be a free 3-day workshop. In just 3 days, you're going to be able to take your epiphany, the thought that you had in the shower, and you will have it turned into a pretty robust outline that has enough structure to keep you moving forward on your first draft, but also enough room that you can be flexible when it comes to figuring out how to move from scene to scene, or if you have a plot hole, you're going to learn how to not get stuck in that plot hole. So this is specifically designed because I have ADHD for ADHD writers. So the autism wants a plan, the ADHD wants to frolic, and novel parkour is like my secret ingredient somewhere between plotting and pantsing is novel parkour. This is an approach that helps you put flexible boundaries around your writing process to complete your first draft without getting bogged down in super niche details and having to know exactly what genre you're writing in. And through this process, you're not only going to come away with resources to actually write your outline and get to know the details of your book and have sort of a framework for how to build those details, but you're also going to come away with the knowledge that your first draft will be messy, and that's actually perfectly according to plan. So please come join me. We are going to be spending 3 days together in May 2025. It's the 16th through the 18th. You can go ahead and grab your spot on my website, and then I'll see you in May. Novel parkour. It's going to be awesome. But, sometimes I'm like, well, I could go get a job that has health insurance, and it would just be nice to have like a regular W-2 job. It's so much simpler. And at some point, it starts becoming capitalism talking. It starts becoming my mother telling me like, oh, that's more secure and that's safer, and you can get a retirement account, and, company match is really worth all the mental illness and all the sadness that's going to happen when you have to get up early and commute and be somewhere for 40, 50 hours a week, and they time your lunches and you're only allowed to go pee twice. No thanks. I need to pee more than that. I have a big stickered water bottle now. I can't handle it. And that's on me. But also I'm not less valuable because I don't work like full time. And God, that's relative too, because like I'm for sure putting in like quote full-time hours. It just doesn't look like that because I cavort and do silliness all the time. It's nice. It's nice to be full-time silly person. Love that for me. Let me bring it back. So how do we know when it's healthy ambition versus toxic productivity? Basically, who are you doing it for? Number one problem. Who is this for? Who does this benefit? If you do this every single day for 5 years, who ends up better off? You or someone else? You or someone else? You or your boss? You or your mom? You or your third grade teacher who said you would never amount to anything? Like, I don't know why she's involved. My third grade teacher was great, by the way. My fourth grade teacher, kind of a bitch. Third grade was fine. Actually, for half of third grade, I was homeschooled, so maybe my third grade teacher did fuck me up a little bit. Hee. Hope my mom doesn't listen to my podcast. I highly doubt it. Did I write anything else down? No, that's pretty much it. So that's a little baby primer on internalized capitalism. When in doubt, I like to compare myself to like a Scandinavian country, right? What do they have provided? They have more time off. They probably don't go to work when they're sick. They actually get parental leave. They go to the doctor when they're sick and they get taken care of. And just sometimes when I can't tell if it's capitalism or like, it's usually capitalism. But when I can't tell, I like to compare myself to Scandinavia because they've got a lot going for them. It is dark all the time and it's pretty cold, but the work-life balance is very good. I think Denmark's actually the happiest country in the world. I don't know what the science behind that is, but they do rate themselves very happy. And I love that for them. I love that for Denmark. Maybe we should move to Scandinavia. I don't know if I want to be that cold and dark. Whatever. This isn't about Scandinavia, except it is a little bit. But what do you want to know more about? What specific questions do you have about internalized capitalism? Because I want to do more on this. I want to talk more about how to like protect yourself and your mindset, like the mentality that creeps in of being like, oh, you got to work hard or else what? Because 9 times out of 10, it's probably okay to take a break. It's probably okay to say no. You don't want to cover for Johnny. I'm so sorry, but I can't. Like, if it fills you with burning shame to say no to somebody, that's something internalized. That's internalized people-pleasing, trauma response, capitalism, all of the above. And you don't deserve that. You deserve nice things. You deserve to be taken care of. So please take better care of my friend. And, maybe say no to your boss a little bit more. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for all of us. Except I'm my own boss, so I have to say no to me too. Sometimes I'll be like, let's do everything. And then I have to be like, no, we're not doing everything because that's capitalism. So if you're an entrepreneur, scale it way, way down. Don't compare yourself to a company with a whole marketing department if you are one person. Compare yourself to yourself last year after you have been doing something for maybe 10 minutes a day for a year, because now you have improved and that benefits you specifically, intrinsically, because that's what's important. Okay, this has been an episode about internalized capitalism. I hope to see you next time on the Neurodivergent Creative Podcast. Drop me a line on Instagram. I love hearing from you. Who says drop me a line? Whatever, but send me a DM because I like to hear what you liked about the podcast. Thank you. That is my ask, my request. And also, please sign up for the Patreon. I'm working on making that even more exciting. And I'm going to have some clumped articles. I don't want to say clumped, categorized, groups of articles to read that are, about internalized capitalism and basically all the stuff that I teach. I want to put it into the Patreon so that it's sort of digestible. So that you've got it at your fingertips. And that starts at just $3 a month. So pretty cheap, pretty affordable. Okay, friends, that is it. I will see you next time.
Creative coach, they'll change your approach and tell you a joke to lighten your load and help you along or sing you a song. Do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do.